Hello and welcome to the Grow Better Together podcast. If you're going to go through it, grow through it. So my name is Rob and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Meredith.
Yes, here I
Yay!
am. Hi.
Yay! And today we're going to talk about love languages.
The 5 of them.
Yes, all five.
All 5.
All 5.
Yes.
It's a good one. Okay. Do you want to run through real quick and tell them like what the 5 love languages is and what they are?
Sure. Yeah, so it's a book, Gary Chapman, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
Gary Chapman.
So a book I discovered, if I do the math, 17 years
3
ago.
months ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
You only
And,
look like you're 18. Wow. You could read when you were that young? 1 year old? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I picked it up because it was actually at a table when I was leaving church, and there's a bunch of books I like reading.
Mm-hmm.
I think we mentioned that in a prior podcast that we usually go to read.
Yeah.
Right? When we're like
absolutely.
stressed, figuring our own
That was in episode number 2. We talked about 4 ways to work your way through pain.
Yeah. So I picked that up and I was reading through it. It was, it's such an easy read. I mean, a day or two, maybe 2 days that I read through the whole thing. And it tells the reader, it explains the 5 love languages and said dialects, because it does go into dialects, but the intention is to get the reader to understand how do they feel the most loved. What are the ways in which they would feel the most loved?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a total foreign concept to me when I first read it. I think a lot of people have that same opinion.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right before reading the book.
Yeah, like you wouldn't think about ways to be loved.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't...
Just love me.
Yeah, that's all right. But, yeah, like I wouldn't have thought of there were multiple ways. I just thought you loved somebody and you showed it how you best knew.
Right.
But what I loved about this book was that transfer of showing the love how they best receive it.
Right, because, and one thing that did stand out was that we tend to love others in our language.
Yes, that's very true.
Right?
Yes.
So that really stood out where it's, okay, I really like leaving notes, and I like, writing, and I like, doing things, for them, and it was like, oh, okay, that does make sense because those are my languages, which we'll get into in a minute, but really seeing that, oh wow, I don't prefer this, and it makes sense that it's lowest on my list, and I'm not gonna.
Yeah, a lot of people think of giving gifts. Like they think giving a gift is love.
Yeah, which
like,
I have like a point for I think.
Yes. So the 5 love languages that they point out in the book, they're words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch,
acts of service.
Yes,
and receiving gifts.
Yes, receiving gifts. Good.
Yeah.
So, so it's beneficial to know those because, like, I started when I first found the book. I forget exactly who I found it through or how I found it, but I remember reading it as a preparation for a relationship. So I wanted to. I had heard about the book. I heard about the concept. At the time, I was single, but I wanted to ensure that when I got into a relationship, that I'd have my best chance of doing well with it. And I remember reading through that, going, "Oh wow, this is amazing! Like I've never thought about the ways in which you can show love." And I wanted to be aware of that as best as possible, leading my way into a relationship.
Yeah. That was very smart. And
well, it's worked out. So
it did work.
Yes, you married me. So yes, yes.
Yeah.
But how do you? What are your love languages?
So my love languages are words of affirmation and acts of service.
Yeah.
So I really like little notes here and there, but I really like kind words. I like affirming words. I like, just not praise, but I mean just anything that makes you feel good.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah. Being told I'm appreciated, or being told just any words that are not negative. And actually, we could get into that, where if it's your love language, you find that if it's your love language and that's how you receive love, if somebody uses that against you,
oh, it hurts so much worse.
It hurts 10 times worse. So, yeah. So, always been a words person, and then acts of service. So, acts of service has always been mine, and we talk about in a relationship, but this is just goes for all people. Like my family, my friends, they know, many know what my languages are. I could not talk to people in, 6 months, but my language isn't quality time, so it
Yeah.
doesn't faze me,
Mm-hmm.
right? But for them, if it is quality time and they never hear from me, they're going to get really hurt.
Yeah, or they'll start wondering, like, I wonder why Meredith doesn't like me. What's
Yeah,
going
is she
on?
mad at me?
Yeah, and in our mind, we're like we were fine the last time we
Yeah.
talked. Why would it be any different?
Yeah, I don't understand
Yeah.
what has happened. But
Mhm.
to me, like, if someone were to go fill my gas tank or, like,
Mhm.
you know, take out the trash or do something that I've been meaning to do or neglecting to do, that means so much more to me than
Yeah.
a gift. Even, it's funny, I mean, I know a lot of women are quality time, but that's one of my lower ones.
Yeah, you're
And-
not like too high on the quality time, but
Mm-mm. And with that being said, what are your languages?
oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
So yes. So we've done, like, we've gone through the book and we took the tests and things.
Mhm.
And originally, my love languages came out to be quality time and physical touch. And what I found very interesting was that was what it was before relationship. And then as you and I have grown closer together, words of affirmation have actually become more important to me than I would have realized.
That's interesting.
So because as I love you more, and as you mean more to me, as we said, like as you go closer to somebody, the way in which you experience love, if used against you, can hurt you. So what I found for me was, as you and I grew closer, your opinion of me or your words towards me meant more. And it's not that I would have thought you would have been rude before or anything like that, but it's just whenever you say something nice, it means more to me than, like, if, a friend at the gym says something nice, or somebody I never know, they're like, oh, you look good today. I'm like, oh, yeah. So it's more like, if since I love you and you're that important to me, your words mean more.
Yeah.
So that's actually been something that I think has been unique for me, is experiencing what I thought they were, then having the relationship and realizing what that's kind of molded towards.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And I think it would be easy maybe for the languages to change over time.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Mine have always, stayed the way it has been. It hasn't really changed in a while. But with that being said, we have one in common and two different.
Yeah.
So part of what we wanted to talk about too on the podcast is talking about how important it is. We always go back to knowing yourself, because you're not going to have a healthy friendship or a healthy relationship or a healthy partnership,
or even a healthy internal
marriage, healthy self,
Yeah.
unless you know yourself. And so, all things aside, really try to get to know yourself first before diving into any serious relationships. But with that being said, there's also, if you know yourself, but also know your partner, it could be an odd conversation at first to talk about what's your love language. Hey, take this, Google it, and then take the quiz online and see what it is. And it takes no time. Then the book helps support it. But for us, I mean, we have different languages. So I make a conscious effort to give you time.
Yes, thank you.
And you make a conscious effort to do acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
So we do things that we know the other person feels loved, because we want to love them. I mean, if you love someone, why would you not want to love them the way that they receive love the best?
Yeah, like
right?
the book can seem, from a male perspective, too often I've talked to other males, and they're like, I'll talk to them about the 5 love languages, they're like, oh, blah, 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 they'll make some kind of joke.
Man card, boo boo.
Yeah, something, and I'm like, you're
Shut
a
up.
moron,
Yeah.
because if you're in a relationship and you say you love that person, why would you not want to love them the best?
Right.
And it goes back to our personality type. If we're going to do something, we're going to do it freaking the best we can possibly do it.
Yeah.
So I actually have, I don't know if this is going to be sound as a pro or a con, but in my phone I have 15 habits I do every day that I believe lead to my best life. Yeah. And 2 of the 15 are an act of service towards you and words of affirmation towards you. And it's something that, even if I didn't have a tracker for it every day, I would still do it. But I won't do it as well if I don't hyper-focus. And this is because, like, we all went through 2020, and life gets in the way. Life throws things at you. You can very quickly lose sight of what isn't, like, an immediate urgency.
Yeah.
And sometimes that becomes your partner. And we've been beneficial to not let that happen, but I've seen it as a personal trainer, talking with clients all the time, is they're so concerned about bills, they're so concerned about kids' schedules, they're so concerned about, like, coin and counter type stuff, that they forget to be friends, they forget to actually love each other, they just turn into, we're co-managing a household rather than being, like, husband and wife.
Yeah. 2 ships in the night.
Yes,
right?
there you go.
As they say. But it is interesting because if I look back at my life, like I had long distance relationships for like a significant portion of my adult life, and I was like, well, how do you do that? And I'm like, I like my time.
It didn't,
Like
it didn't seem
like,
negative to you.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm
fun.
good with like a couple weekends a month. Like I'm good with that. Like, people would be like, are you heartless? Like,
Yeah,
why do you
yeah.
do not want to? It's not that I don't like them. It's I like my time. Like I like my time. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all that means. And then when it comes down to like Christmas and gifts, it's like, please, can you just not?
Oh gosh.
To me, a huge act of service was like, if you could give me like $20 that I could put towards a bill, that would be great. That is the best gift because that is an act of service.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need anything else. Like
yeah,
I
we're
really
not big
don't.
on gifts. We're
No,
not.
we're not.
Now other people can be, and yay for
Yeah.
you. Know yourself,
Yeah.
and that's okay if you are.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's a negative thing,
Yeah.
but it was something we've talked about this. Like all my mom and dad are awesome, and they love me. And every single year, my mom starts asking me for Christmas in like August what I want for Christmas. And every year for
Same thing
36
every
years,
year.
it's been a fight that I'm like, I don't really care. She's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know, just give me a hug. So, like, the gifts don't mean much to me, but I appreciate that they think of it, and I appreciate that they love me enough to do it, and blah, blah, blah. But it's not my natural, like, love language.
Yeah.
But I think it's my mom's.
Yeah.
She loves to give gifts.
Yeah.
So I've had to fight myself and realize that, okay, this is what she loves.
Yeah.
I have to be a little bit better about, like, accepting it from her for her.
Right, because it is for her.
Yes.
And because that is how she gives love. And
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's why, like we said, like, hurtful words are going to be 10 times stronger. Seeing someone not appreciate a gift is going to, like, break her heart because she's a gift person, yeah. And, like, I mean, I know couples that they don't have any language in common, which, you know, that I've known they just don't. There seems to usually be something wrong. Someone is pissed off at the other one for some reason.
Yeah, there's so much miscommunication.
And it's like, but could you just, like, you know what the languages are. Like, try, and it might feel like work at first. Everyone says, you know, marriage is work, relationships are work. It's not work. It's just going to feel foreign. It might feel weird because you're like, I don't really care about this thing, but I'm going to do it. And then they're like, oh my God, you know, so in love and so happy, and it made their day, and you're like, I don't understand it, but okay, cool. But then you start to at least speak the other person's language.
Yeah, like there's examples, like I've talked to people over the years where the husband will go out and cut grass on a Saturday, whereas and it doesn't always have to be husband and wife, but that's the example I'm using. But the husband will cut the grass, the wife will be inside wondering, like, why don't we spend quality time together, while the husband's out there going, this is an act of service, I'm cutting the grass.
Yeah.
And then like the husband thinks he's doing a loving thing, the wife then doesn't feel loved, and then later on the wife would express how she doesn't feel loved. The husband's like, what the hell are you talking about? I just cut the grass.
Yeah.
And there's just that miscommunication and that
I'm sure you
jumbled
see
mess.
that all the time as a trainer.
Yeah, as a trainer, you talk to
like,
clients,
one-on-ones all the time.
you and I've talked about this, how reasons why people sometimes, most of the time, don't follow with training programs, don't follow with nutrition programs, is mental and emotional issues.
Yeah.
So they can just feel depressed, they can feel, you know, just a whole bunch of emotions. And if they're having relationship troubles, it all of a sudden falls into, they don't come in hyper-focused on the training, they're kind of scattered, so we start talking about it, and we find out it's a relationship thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do see that quite often where people miscommunicate.
And now, this book is taken off. I don't know quite when it all of a sudden, like, hit that threshold, but now there is a book for 5 love languages for singles, for children.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really now, regardless of stage of life, there's one of these books for you. And I think it is so key in the foundation of a friendship, a partnership, a relationship, a marriage, you name it. Because if you're constantly not speaking the other person's language, I mean, that could be, it'll be detrimental.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
People can get divorces over it because they don't feel loved and they never spend time with me, and it's, well, my love language isn't time. Like, so it's,
They both
right
want
out
to
of the
love,
gate.
they both want to give love, but
Yeah.
they don't know how to give it best, and therefore
Right.
they're not receiving it best.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's something, it helps. Like we talked about, like you brought up the phrase that, like, marriage takes work. And we both hate that phrase.
I don't like that.
Is if I want something to go well, I'm willing to invest extra effort into it.
Right.
And that's all it is.
Right.
You would read this book, you'd talk with your partner,
Mm-hmm.
and you're investing into your love. Why would
Yeah.
it's not work.
Yeah.
It's an investment.
No.
It's a joint process to make things better.
And maybe it's, I mean, our love is something, one, like I've never experienced before in my life.
This is
Like,
unique.
never in my life. So I want to speak your language. I want to do things because I want you to feel loved the best way possible. And I like knowing it feels good to me that I'm doing something that you like. Or, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't understand why that would feel like work. Now, there's days where, you know, I don't have a lot of time, or there are days I'd want to jump right out of bed and like go right to work. But, you know, now we spend quality time every morning, just snuggling and talking. And,
yeah, we cuddle in the morning.
Yeah, we cuddle.
That probably sounds so dorky, but I love it. It's
I
amazing.
don't care that's dorky.
Yeah.
But now I really like that time, and I'm not like a quality time person, but I love it, but I love it because it's you, and you know, then it becomes part of our routine, and now I can't imagine not doing it.
Yeah, it feels weird. I think we've known each other.
What'd you say? 20 months to be like a
toddler?
Yeah,
20 months like a toddler. And I think maybe twice we've ever woken up and not cuddled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's keep that under 5, like for the rest of our lives. Yeah. But so let's go through, and we said what the 5 love languages are, and give some examples maybe.
Yeah.
So if you think of like words of affirmation, what's a method or two or some ideas you could throw out there for somebody?
I think even just I like being able to like read it too instead of hearing it. So like you can send a text, let someone know you appreciate them. You know, maybe something that, you know, say something that they did recently, or tell them how proud you are of them, how thankful you are to be with them or to know them. Just really words that would just, I mean, more than likely you mean it. If you think about it, you really mean it. So send a note, write it on a Post-it, send a text, go old school, write a letter. I mean, you name it. Write it on the whiteboard randomly. Like, throw it in there, write a note and stick it in their suitcase or briefcase or backpack, whatever it is. I think that would be an easy way for words.
Yeah, I think that's good. And then if you're unfamiliar with the concept of what's called active listening, I think that would be something worth researching very quickly right now. Because that could be words of affirmation where if you're telling me about your day, I want to actively listen, and then I want to repeat kind of what you're experiencing, and really take a minute to process things with you. And that is a way of words of affirmation, is he cares enough about me to be listening.
That was something that totally stood out to me about you, like on our first date.
Yeah.
Probably, I think you've even said the other way around, where it was, we grew into people that we knew active listening was a good thing.
Yes.
And we did that for each other at the date, and it was like,
it was amazing.
Like nothing I've ever experienced.
Yes, I do. Cool. I do remember there was about a 30-second span where I wasn't listening, and that was because I was genuinely lost in how beautiful you were. And I was like, "Oh my God, this girl is like so gorgeous. Can't believe I'm getting to sit here with her." And then I immediately went, "Holy crap, she's talking, and I haven't been listening." So I was like, "Oh no."
You're the cutest thing ever.
But I think active listening is an awesome way to do words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Yes. So you have all the physical ways, like you mentioned, text message, notes, all that stuff, and that's awesome and wonderful, and definitely do that. And then also add to it active listening.
Yeah, that's important. Yes. But also do that for everyone always.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
That's also a good. That's just throw that out there.
Yeah.
What about quality time? What are some ways of quality time?
Yeah, and you and I talked about this is how you can sneak this in when you don't have a lot of time. One way is, hey, just what's 5 minutes in the morning? You know, we set a snooze for 9 minutes. And you can snooze for 9 minutes while you cuddle and just talk about what your dreams were. And that's quick and easy. I think also maybe a phone call in the middle of the day. If even if you're apart, maybe you have a 5-minute window, you can talk. You can do FaceTime if you want.
Yeah, and that's where the book also talks about the dialects, because it's, you may be spending time together, but the person may not view that as quality time.
Oh, that's, like watching TV for 3 hours when you're not looking at each other?
Yeah. So some people don't mind. They're together on the couch watching TV for 4 hours and don't talk.
Yeah, some people
that's the
perfect.
quality time.
Yeah.
Others is, I want to have a meaningful conversation, and the time is just however many of you, and you're engaging and you're talking, and or you're going for a walk and you're doing an activity. So there's different ways of spending time.
Yes, that's a very good point. It doesn't have to be length as much as quality, and it has to be what both people want. Like
Yeah.
it can be length.
Yeah.
Like you just brought up an hour. Like you can sit and watch a movie for 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 people can think that's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
You can have other 2 people who just talk on the phone, FaceTime for 2 minutes,
Yeah.
and that's the best thing ever because that's what they wanted. They just
And
wanted
this
your
is-
attention for
yeah.
2 minutes.
This is where it comes to talking to your friends and family and
Yes.
partners to know what is the most meaningful. That'll help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So
the
then
next
we-
one. Physical touch.
Yeah. Well,
Physical touch.
there's one way in which you could do physical
Yeah.
touch. Yeah. So that's one.
Yeah.
But I like also, like you and I, like in our work office or home office.
Yeah.
Meredith has to go past my seat to go out.
Yeah.
Like if you want to go out of the room. So it's really nice. It's like you'll walk past and just kind of like drag your fingers across my shoulder,
Mhm.
give me a little kiss on the cheek. You know,
Mhm.
those things are
Yeah.
awesome. They mean a lot. And those are just the small things that it's kind of funny in the sense that when they happen on a regular basis, you enjoy them, but you don't recognize how much you enjoy them until all of a sudden they're not there.
Something's not there.
And then you're like, oh, wow, what the heck? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, where is that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like I
Yeah.
like back and foot tickles.
Yeah.
Foot tickles, yeah.
Yeah, we do foot massages
I like
and
that.
back rubs.
Touch, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes I'll get home from work and you're on your computer, so I'll just rub your back while you tell me a little bit about your day.
Mhm.
And that
It's
can be
amazing.
a nice, quick way. So
Mhm.
physical touch obviously is definitely more than sex. It can, like, just intimacy, physical intimacy,
Yeah.
physical touch. Like, just, like, some way of making it,
It's almost
like,
like
kind
I'm
of
aware of you and present
yes.
of you, and I
yeah, there you go, acknowledgement. Yeah.
acknowledging you. Yeah, I
Yes.
think a lot of it can boil down to that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, I have a real quick question here. So, we're about to go into the last two, which is acts of service and giving gifts. Where
Yeah.
do you think eye contact, whenever you talk with somebody, if you look them in the eyes, that can be a sign of love in the sense that you're
Yeah.
stopping what you're doing.
I think
And
it
you're
could be a
giving
type
them
of quality
attention.
time.
Yeah?
I think it's probably quality time because if someone's not looking at you when you're talking, you're like, this sucks.
I could see that.
This is
yeah.
awful. Like they're not even paying attention to me, and it doesn't even feel like you're there because you're not being acknowledged
There you go.
with
That's
eye contact.
Good point.
So I think
yeah.
that could be a quality time. I don't think it's acts of service or gift giving.
No.
Um,
I think that's something
Yeah.
that I think would be worth mentioning when we're thinking about acts of love is stopping what you're doing for
True.
a second and like actually looking at the person in the eyes.
yeah.
And that can be something very small but it can have a huge impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Yep, so next one we have is acts of service. You have
Acts of
any
service.
things you want to throw out there for ideas?
Oh man, I think it comes down again. Duh, we always say to your partners, but for me, like, time is of the essence, right? So like, I don't like having to stop for gas.
Mhm.
Like, Rob, make sure the gas tank is filled before we have to go somewhere because I don't want to waste the time,
Yes.
right? And that's an act of service for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is like making sure my gas tank is filled for myself. You know, if somebody were to go do that for me, it would be the best gift because you just saved me time, money, frustration,
Yeah.
right? And then, you know, so that's for sure one. For me, it's if I have it on my list, then I need to do it. It's doing those things.
Yeah.
Like to me, an act of service. If you go mow the lawn, I don't really care.
Yeah, you weren't going to mow the lawn.
I wasn't gonna mow the lawn.
Yeah, you're
It
not
doesn't
saving
save
me
me
anything.
anytime. I
Yeah.
don't mind paying anybody to go mow the lawn. So that's not an act of service. But an act of service is if it cuts down on how much time I need to put towards things I don't want to do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah.
Do you have ideas?
I think that's actually a really good
Yeah.
just kind of category.
Yeah.
Is say to yourself is, okay, what does the other person have to do
Mhm.
that I know they don't like to do?
Yeah.
And can I do that for them?
Yeah.
And if you can answer that, I think that'd be a great answer.
I would bet if you're listening,
Mm-hmm.
try it out and see that you don't have the best day, afternoon, night, what have you, because you did something that was totally maybe this is not common for you and you're like, you know what, I never actually did that. Or it's almost like that there's also a movie like Fireproof where I think it's ultimately love languages basically.
Okay.
I think it boils
Oh
down
yeah,
to
that
that.
was Fireproof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like, well, I don't want to do it, they should just do this, and I don't want to do it and they should just shut up. Just
Yeah.
try it. It's almost like challenge yourself.
Yeah.
For like 10 days, go all out for 30 days, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Try and do something for them.
Yeah, like what
Yeah.
do they like? Let's for example, cook.
Yeah.
If they cook but they don't really like to cook for them. Do the dishes afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, clean the house, clean a room, clean anything.
Yeah.
If they have to do that. Do the laundry.
Anything, yeah.
You know, like something I like doing for you is I'll like prep your coffee in the morning.
Yeah, that's been a nice.
And that's something that like
a nice perk.
it literally takes 3 minutes, but it's something that you get to wake up in the morning and just start drinking a warm cup of coffee.
That was amazing.
You don't have to sit and wait for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a cool thing to do. It really takes no effort whatsoever. You just have to remember to do it. But that's something I think is again, it falls into that category of what is this something this person has to do every day?
Yeah.
That I know they don't like to do, and or you know it's not a pleasurable thing.
Yeah.
So if it's something like if you love to cook and I cook for you, that's not really an act of love. I'm taking away something you like to do. That's like if I worked out for you. You'd be like, what?
This doesn't work. Hold on a second.
So as long as it fits that category of something they have to do, and you're going to try to take it from them, for them, I guess. Yeah.
Do it for them. Don't take it from them.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on.
Moving on.
Receiving
gifts.
Yeah. So what's some small ways somebody can give gifts? So that could be like you could hand make like a card. When I was younger, I used to do that. My name is Robert, and my nickname when I was younger was Bert. So I actually made cards, and on the back of the card I wrote Bert's Best, and there was like my card series. Yeah. Yes, and I'd make them for my mom and dad.
You're the cutest.
So it was also because I was cheap. So. Yes.
You're the cutest thing ever.
Bert's Best card series.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's something you can do.
Well, that's funny too, because also like I love all the little things that you do for me, but you were constantly buying me little things.
Oh yeah, I bought you a little trophy.
But you lied to a pastor for it, not pastor, church shop, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if we have to get further into that. So.
That will be another topic.
Yes.
But I love my little trophy.
Yeah.
Side note, small tangent real quick. Rob, from our very first few dates, realized that my life had been less than stellar up to that point. So I think I kept hitting him with, "How was your day?" And I would respond with something that was like, "Doesn't happen to people." And that hasn't really stopped. So Rob bought me a trophy that says "Winning at Life."
Yes.
And I laughed so freaking hard.
Yes. It became like a little hashtag where...
And then a year later, he bought me a dumpster fire statue.
Yes. Dumpster fire
So
statue.
it continued.
Yes. So, but that's
It was a dumpster fire without 2020.
Like the trophy was, I think, like $3 plus some engraving fees. It might have been like $10.
Yeah.
And it was something that was fun to give. Like
Yeah.
I used to, I bought you flowers every now and then.
Oh, the flowers are very sweet.
But then they would die, so I bought her wooden flowers.
Yeah.
Which sound like they look a lot better than they sound.
But to me, I was like, oh my god, the act of service would be not spending the money. Like.
Yeah, well, we're in like a what is it? No spend.
We're in no spend 2021.
Yeah. So we're trying to save money. So the act of service is like for Valentine's Day, we said we wouldn't get I wouldn't get you flowers.
Right.
So I actually
gifts,
I did
no
not
flowers.
get you a gift, and I did not get you a flower.
And that was the
and
best
somehow
gift.
that was me loving you.
That was the best. That was the best gift.
I think every guy out there is like, what the hell? How do we
Please
get
put
this?
it towards the Amazon card. Like, I don't want
Yes.
it. Please,
Yeah.
it would be the best gift. You just put it towards the Amazon.
But I think that's important too. Is that shows the communication.
Right.
If I went out there and spent $300 on a necklace, you'd have been pissed.
I really would have been pissed.
Yeah, and it's like because that would have been in some person's mind that would have been a gift of love.
Yeah.
Whenever in yours, you're like, hey,
And some women want
what in the
jewelry.
world?
They expect jewelry every year.
Yeah,
like,
so it's
that's
good to
like
communicate
the day to do
that.
So like definitely no ask. You know.
Yeah, you definitely got to communicate and make sure you're both on the same page because that way the gifts. Because even if you get a gift and that person wants a gift, it's at least the right scale of gift or the right intention and reception of the gift.
Dialects.
Dialects.
It goes down
There
to
you go.
dialect. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So for someone who also isn't really a huge fan of clutter, or like I'm very picky about what I want, and you're the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But like for example, a small gift that was like freaking awesome was your brother Art and our sister-in-law basically that. I love seals. You can see
seals.
You can see 3 seals in from where I'm sitting within a 5-foot radius. So,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
So they were super cute, and I love also probably 200 journals or like circling around me. Maybe not, of course, not that many, but just to drive the point home for the listeners.
Close,
It's probably close. It's at least 40.
Yes.
It's at least 40. Anyway, so I opened the present, and it was like journals with seals on the front.
Yes.
And I was like, where did you even find this?
Silly sushi too.
Yeah, and they said don't be sealy on it. It was
fantastic.
it was amazing. I like took pictures. I was so excited. It was a journal, and it was like one of the best gifts, just because it was like, that's so cute and so thoughtful.
Yes. Yeah.
I like gifts when there's a lot of thought in it.
Yeah. My brother, he also got us that shower notes.
Oh yeah, but
So,
that was yours.
Yeah, that was a gift, but it was meant for me to do. Like,
Yeah.
That turned into a really cool gift.
Yeah, that was really neat.
Yeah, so it's basically like little Post-it notes that you can write. They're waterproof.
Waterproof.
So we
notes.
write little love notes to each other in the like every once in a while.
And
so
there's
a
words
note.
of affirmation.
Yeah, and then when you get in the shower next, you'll see the little note and you'll write something maybe.
It's fun.
That's fun.
It is fun.
Like, we do a lot of that because we both want the relationship to go well, so we make sure that we put in effort towards it.
Make sure, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what we want, like, for the listeners and people watching on YouTube, is just, we hope that you can have an internal healthy relationship with yourself. You can have a healthy relationship with your friends and family and coworkers. And then, if you find yourself in a relationship, you can have a healthy relationship. And this book is, without a doubt, one of the best resources you could use for that.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, no question. And I do hope, I mean, let us know if you read it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've read it, how it's changed your life, if you have any questions about it or what to do. I can't really think of any ideas. I mean, there's always Google, but there's always us too.
Yeah. So our Instagram channel is
Grow Through Blog.
Yes, Grow Through Blog, and then our email is growbettertogetherpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, so if you want to be a little interactive and let us know what you think, you can reach out if you want some ideas or just to brag a little bit about what you've done. We'd be happy to hear that. Yeah. So, but hopefully that was helpful to listen kind of about what that book would be. Yes, and we think it would be a great resource for everybody.
I think it's awesome.
Yes.
I mean, hands down, single relationship,
Everyone.
Everyone.
Yes.
Everyone read it.
Cool. So we have some upcoming podcasts, that we'll be doing. So we have, like, growing a healthy relationship. What is a healthy relationship? Like, what that's supposed to look like. And this book is one of the resources, but there are actually many more we could talk about. Then we know about knowing yourself, how to know yourself, how to understand, like, your own triggers for negative behaviors, how to promote positive behaviors.
Yeah.
And then the importance of communication is something we're going to talk about too.
100%.
Yeah, so a lot of good stuff coming
A lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so if you have any requests or you would like to know anything or share anything or just want to interact with us at all, our Instagram channel, like we said, was Grow Through Blog. Our email is growbettertogetherpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, well, if you do like the podcast, please share it. The more people we share it with, the more people we can help. We can help them live healthier and happier lives, which is
always a
for
goal.
everybody. Yes. Yes. And then, like we said, check us out on social media and then reach out to us if you have any questions.
Yep.
Cool. So remember, if you're going to go through it, grow through it. Yay. Turn your struggles into strengths.
There you go.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
And thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you for watching.